What's up, everybody? My phone was dying. That was the problem. So, any of you that want to hop on here, we can definitely chat. Andrea, you got any questions? What's going on? Sorry, guys. So the actual reason was my phone was dying. So that's why I guess my screen froze. I don't know. I don't get these iPhones sometimes. But if you guys have any further questions, please let me know. Related or unrelated? Oh, come unrelated. Ask away. I'm gonna put you guys on a tripod here. Please ask away. Oop. Good question. Okay, so how did you get into online products? Very, very good question. So I got into online products because I simply felt like it was a need for what I wanted in my life. And I think that's a great question for you guys to ask yourself. Is with your well, let's start with with your concierge practice. What do you truly want in your life? What are you truly trying to achieve? What is your optimal schedule? What is it that you want in your life? And I think for me, obviously it's clear. I think you guys understand that from now. I love this topic. I love coaching people on this topic, and I love helping people grow their businesses. It is so unbelievably satisfying to take somebody and to take their business, take their business to the next level. So unbelievably satisfying. So I took that passion with the fact that I now have my baby boy downstairs. I took that passion coupled with the fact that I want to be able to spend more time at home. And I can tell you guys within the last 6 months, I've started to make that happen. So in order to have time to coach, I have taken off Wednesdays and I have taken off half of my Fridays. So I actually only work 3.5 days in my practice right now, but I was basically able to push my patients into those time slots for those days and create my optimal schedule. So I think, Andrea, to answer your first question, how did you get into online products? It was purely out of passion and necessity. I wanted to figure out a way that I could spend more time at home. I would still much rather be at home doing coaching calls than be out driving around all day. Because in between coaching calls, I can go give a kiss to my little guy downstairs. I can go talk to my wife. I can go eat lunch with the two of them. Like, that's, for me, has always been the dream. And I'll tell you guys one more thing that I'm still not fulfilling in my life, but I challenge you guys to really think about what you want in your life. And for me, the main thing that I want, which is crazy, is of anything that I could choose from, is I want my mornings with my family. I want my mornings with my family. And I continue to push hard to make sure that that happens. It's not currently happening, but for me, online has the capability of doing that. Concierge practices have the capability of doing things like that too and freeing up your time. But I still have reached the point where I love my concierge practice. I want to continue to do that, but I don't want that. I don't want it to control my time. So 3 days out of the week, it does control my time. I absolutely love my clients. I'm not giving them up. But it does afford me an online product does afford me to have more time at home, which is very, very nice. I spend a lot of time in this office here, and it's a lot of fun. So good question. Any other questions? Let's see. I want to work with patients and clinicians in my niche, so I'm curious about this. Hopefully that answers your question. That's how I got into it. If you've got any other questions, I'd love to hear. I have so many ideas from Christine. How do I decide which one to start with? Which made the most lucrative or desired by the community? Easy answer, Christine. You need to get into the minds of your community, your avatar, your specific person that you want to see. You need to get into their mind and ask yourself the question, what do they actually need? And if you don't know the answer to that question, then this will be one of the most important things that any of you could do in your practices if you haven't started it yet. If you have an idea for a practice or have an idea for an online business, actually asking your avatar or your specific person, what is it that they want? What do they truly, truly want? If you have the answer to that question, you can build whatever you want, Christine. But after meeting with you for coffee, I understand that this is a problem with having too many ideas and shooting here, shooting here, shooting here. That can be really, really dangerous. The podcast we just released on the Mobile PT podcast today would be a good episode for you to listen to. But here's the bottom line. I have it on my door. I posted this on my Facebook page a few days ago. Focus. The acronym for focus that I have up there is follow one course until success. You have to be able, I cannot stress this enough. You have to be able to follow one course until success or you will not have success. I'll tell you guys this. If I tried to start business coaching like a year ago, I wouldn't have been ready. But because I'm in my third year of my practice is rocking and rolling. It's basically moving without me right now. My patients love seeing me and they're on monthly programs. Like I don't have to worry about a lot of that. I don't have to worry about a lot of that in the practice. So I am now in the point where I can say, okay, now I'm at the point where I can follow this passion of focusing on physical therapists and helping them to start concierge physical therapy practices, because I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that this movement right here, and I would not be doing everything that I'm doing if I didn't truly believe this. I believe that concierge physical therapy and mobile physical therapy can make a massive difference in our field if the more and more physical therapists that can take action and do it. Because there's so many physical therapists out there that are not happy in their jobs. So I think that's the main key, Christine, is sticking to one thing after you figure out what your community wants and sticking with it until success or failure. If you have that attitude, the majority of the time you're going to succeed. The only time that people fail is because they give up too early. So focus on one thing until success and you will have success. But too many people decide to give up and that's the reason they fail. It's not because they fail and go out of business. It's because they give up and they don't take enough action. That's why. It's on my watch. Good. That's amazing to hear. There's 7 of you on. Ask me any question you want. Any question. The first question that pops into your head. We're only at 6:45 my time. So ask me a question. I'll hang out for another 10 minutes and answer you guys' questions. I'm waiting for a good one. Let's see who's on. Let's see. Keats, Benji, Andrea, Darren, Jesse, Leo. Any guys that got any specific questions? Any specific questions? Any questions about the 6 topics that we went over tonight? Crickets. All right, guys. Well, if there's no questions, you guys have an awesome night. I've got a great topic for us next Wednesday. Oh, let's see. Something from Leo. Leo, not a question, but you talked about websites earlier. You can set up a free and professional looking website on WordPress. Not sure if mentioned already. So yeah, Leo, that's actually what I did. And yeah, Keats, I'll get to your question. That's a good question. That's what I did. I actually started with WordPress because that was the only online platform that I knew. I didn't even know at the time how difficult WordPress was. So I created a website on WordPress simply by myself by using YouTube University. I just searched on YouTube, basics to starting a website on WordPress. I followed a few simple how-to videos, created a really crappy website. But hey, it worked for almost my first year before I saved up enough money to where I put $3,000 into my website with a real, website developer. So, that's one thing I'm really, really strongly believing in is that I don't think a website really needs to be that fancy at first. If you're depending on a website, then that's the worst way to look at it in the beginning of your practice anyway. Because I'm just going to be honest with you. If your community doesn't know about you, if your community isn't already putting out word of mouth around you, you're going to have a difficult time just relying on Google searches. Yeah, you can put Google AdWords and different things like that out there, different ads, and Google, basically putting money into those Google AdWords. Sure, that can work too, but I wouldn't have that as a first step. So website really doesn't need to be this super pretty thing in the beginning. I think mine had like a crazy, a little picture of some lady doing yoga, which has nothing to do with my practice now. It just was active looking, so I went with it. All right, Keats, how do you raise rates? Very, very good question. Lots of people have different thoughts and processes about this. Mine's very simple. This is how I've always done it. It's always worked well because I have always wanted to reward my patients that have stuck with me. And with a concierge practice, I think we have the ability to see people for longer amounts of time because we have the ability to continue to work on more and more and more with each client to make them, to really help them to achieve their goals and their dreams. So for me, the way that I've always done it is I started off way too low, but basically I have always, from wherever I was, I basically would, I even put it on some of my forms that I have for my practice. I would put effective March 1st, all new patients will will pay this new rate. So I've always done it in the fact that, okay, I'm at $125 right now per visit. I'm going to raise my rates to $150. How am I going to do that? All new patients that come into my practice now pay $150 per visit. Some people say to go back and change it with every single patient, and I think it depends on where you're at in your practice. I was so small in the beginning that I only had about 4 to 5 main clients, and I was like, I made sure to tell them, I was like, look, because I went from 125 to 175, and I told a lot of my clients that have been there with me for quite a while, I told them, look, I'm going to keep you at 125 because I appreciate you, and I'm going to grandfather you into that price. All new patients that come into my practice are $175 a visit. I still see all 5 of those patients on a regular basis. Some on a bi-monthly basis, some on a weekly, some on a monthly, but I still see all of them because they appreciate it so much and they see the value in it continually. So I think that's the best way to do it without going in and saying, hey, I'm jacking up your price from 125 to 175. You can definitely do that, and I think a lot of people don't have too much pushback with that, but I've always liked to reward my patients that have stuck with me. So that's how I've done it. Now, if you're kind of having quick turnover of patients, then clearly that makes it pretty easy. All new patients that come in, they're at a new price. But I would keep those other patients at the previous price, in my opinion. So, Darren, hope that answers your question, Keats. Darren, have you ever printed the first page of your ebooks and asked certain locations where your avatar is if you could post them somewhere with your contact info if someone there wanted to get more info on that subject? So like that's good. Post them where? Like on a rack card or something like that. I'm not exactly sure where you're asking to post it, Darren. But no, I've never done that. It's a great idea. It definitely is a great idea to give people more information. I think I know Darren, you've got ebooks on your website. I think that's probably the best place for them because you can even tell people on the phone when you get on the phone with them. You can ask them, hey, if you've got questions about that, even if they're a little bit on the fence with working with you, you can always say, hey, if you go to my website, you could download my free ebook on back pain. Maybe that's the best step for you right now to just get some information on that. Okay, Darren, rack card or bulletin board? So I haven't done exactly that technique for a rack card or bulletin board, but I've made my own. I'll show you guys. I've had rack cards like this in the past that kind of just explain more about what my practice does. I've had rack cards in the past that have had information on ergonomics that I've left in offices and things like that. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys because we're still continuing this No BS Wednesday, right? I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I've never received a good lead from a rack card that I've done. So personally, it's not something I teach anymore. Not something that I tell people to do anymore. I just simply think it's kind of a waste of money. Because I don't know. When I'm at a doctor's office, do you guys pick up the rack cards? I mean, there's a lot of rack cards at doctor's offices. Do you guys pick them up and look at them? If you do, maybe it's a good try, but I personally don't. Yeah, it leads them to going to the website. Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, if the rack card leads them to going to the website, I think that's a good kind of lead generator, but I would just make sure they're on the website and that you have Darren, I would just make sure that you have a solid follow-up system. Following up with people after an ebook. So whether that's an automated email sequence or you personally reaching out to them, whatever it is. Only to network, yes. Yep, that's what I was thinking. Leo, you had one question. I'll answer this last question, and then I've got to go. Me and the wife are gonna watch some TV and have some wine together. One thing for you business owners out there: set your time accordingly, and make sure you schedule in things like that. My wife loves it now. She knows exactly when she gets to spend time with me, whereas before, I created a lot of problems because I'm a very obsessive person and I'm just a go, go, go type person. That I created a lot of problems in our relationship. But now that I say, hey, I'm done at 7 o'clock our time, let's have some wine, let's enjoy our time together, spend some time watching some TV, and she loves that. So, side topic. Let's answer one more question. Leo, have you had some people hold back on treatment because of the price? And how do you help them see the value to start? Good question. Man, I should have gotten this earlier. This is kind of a lengthy question. Okay, good question though, Leo. Have you had some people hold back on the treatment because of the price? Yes. And then how do you help them to see the value to start? Okay, really, really good question. So again, if people are holding back on treatment because of the price, it's generally because they're not being sold on that service correctly. And I've come to realize that and acknowledge that a lot in my practice, so that's why I continue to say it to you guys more and more, is that that's actually the true reason. So price is actually usually not really what's going to hold a person back from buying. Price is just a price. But most people, you see it all the time in our world, whether they're, no matter what financial level that you're in or financial status that you're in, people will pay for value. Think about a TV. It's a great example. Doesn't matter what lower income status, middle income status, higher income status, everybody's got good TVs in their homes these days. Why? Because they value it, and everybody watches TV probably too much. There's Netflix. There's all this stuff to keep our attention because we need so much damn attention on different things these days, including myself. My wife and I watch a lot more TV now that we have a little baby. But it's just like, think about that. Think about those things, how much people spend on those things, and it's because they see the value in it. So we just have to do a better job at showing the value. Have you had some people hold back on treatment because of price? Yes, I have had that happen. Why? Now looking back on it, because I wasn't a good salesman in the beginning. That's why. I wasn't a good salesman. Does it happen to me anymore? Rarely. Rarely does it happen anymore. So that's why I can confidently tell you guys that it's sales. It truly is sales. We have to learn to sell as physical therapists. And I would be happy to do a No BS Wednesday on this topic. But the topic of sales, shoot, that could take 4 No BS Wednesdays, 5 No BS Wednesdays. But we've got to be able to sell. That's the main reason that people are going to hold back on treatment because of your price. How do you help them to see the value to start? That's basic. This is a specific answer to that, Leo. How do you show them the value to start? We have to show them where we're going to get them. How do we show them the value to start? We have to be able to have the ability to listen to what they truly want and be able to show them through your words how you're going to be able to get them there. So how do you do that? Let's dive into that really, really quick, okay? We've got about 5 minutes to dive into that. How do you do that? How do you help them to see the value from the start? By showing them the finish line. You have to have a process. So how can you have a process? I truly believe you have to have a step-by-step process that you can bring clients through to show them what it will be like on their ride of being treated by you. So for me, mine is as simple. I'll show you. I guess I don't have it. Mine is as simple as 3 different phases that I have my patients go through. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I'm not going to get into those phases today, but they go through those different phases, and I show them that in their evaluation that, look, phase 1 is this, phase 2 is this, phase 3 is this. That's what we need to go through in order to get you to what you truly want. You told me when we first started the evaluation that you wanted to be able to go and be back on the slopes with your grandkids, and you don't want to feel embarrassed and sit back at the lodge anymore. You told me that, right? This 3-step process that I have patients go through is how I'm going to help you to get there. And you're going to be able to go on the slopes, not have a problem being on the slopes with your grandkids and enjoy your time with them. You're not going to have to be able to sit at the lodge and not go out skiing with them any longer. I mean, that's never going to happen as long as we go through this process and get you better. How does that sound? So I take them through that 3-step process and show them what it's going to be like to work with me. What it's going to be like to work with me. People have to know what it's going to be like to work with you. But not enough of us physical therapists actually show people the road of what it's going to actually look like. It's just going to be like, okay, yeah, let's just go and sign up for another visit, and I'll see you next time. After you just told them a bunch of crap about what you think is wrong with them. And if we truly believe that that's the best process we can go through as physical therapists, that's the reason that we're not selling. That right there. I mean, it's so prevalent in our field. That's why it gets me so pumped up. And none of you are wrong for maybe not being there yet. None of you are wrong. I don't want you guys to get that. This is just no BS Wednesday. But the truth of the matter is we're not taking them through a true process and showing our patients how they're going to get to that end goal, how they're going to get to that finish line. We have to be able to do that. That's my answer to that question. Sales is key and a challenge for so many of us. Okay, so I'll ask. I won't even ask people what their questions are for the next No BS Wednesday. No BS Wednesday will be an introduction to sales. All right? You guys have a great night. We'll talk soon.